Is training in your garage gym making you sick? Like physically sick? Because mine was. And today on 5 Minute Friday, we're going to talk about why I was getting sick in my gym and what I did to fix it. Hey everybody, it's Tim, head gym nerd here at GymCrafter.com, the website that I built to help ordinary folks build home and garage gyms that we absolutely love. And today we're going to talk about actually being able to spend time in those home gyms. And if you've been listening on the podcast, you know that I've been redoing my garage gym from the ground up. And part of that was putting paint on the walls. And unfortunately, the type of paint that I used, too long of a story for 5 Minute Friday, was off-gassing VOCs, or volatile organic compounds.
Tell them to bring gas masks.
They were literally making me sick. For about a month, I could only spend about an hour at a time in here. I've had headaches for the longest time. I was worried about my health. I was worried about my dog's health. It wasn't a pretty picture. So I want to share with you guys what I did today to fix it, because when you're training in a garage, a lot of times, not just the paint on the walls, but the stuff we store in the garages.
It's a dumping ground for toxic waste.
If we're parking our cars in here, if we're buying cheap bumper plates, cheap flooring, there's a lot of things that off-gas what are called VOCs, and we want to make sure that we're not breathing those in, especially when we're training, because when we're training, we're breathing deeply, we're breathing heavily, and the last thing we want to do is to breathe those VOCs in deeply. So I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock. I finally found the clock, and let's get to today's video. What I did at first was to ventilate my gym, and I actually made a video on putting a screen door in your gym, and in the summertime that's great, and I'm glad this happened in the summertime. About a month I spent with the door open about 12 hours a day, and I had a couple of fans going non-stop. That helped, but it didn't solve the problem. I also had what I thought would help, which is an air filter. Now, why do you want an air filter in your gym? Now, this is regardless of the type of paint you got on the walls or any type of VOCs in your garage. You want an air filter because, like I said, you're in here breathing deeply. You're training hard, you're running on a treadmill, you're rowing on your rowing machine, you're lifting weights. You don't want to breathe dust, pollen, dirt, dander, VOCs. You don't want to breathe any of that stuff in deeply, and an air purifier is one of the best things that you can have in your gym. And I've had this one. This is a Blue Air 411 for quite a while. Now, this was due for a filter change, so I thought this was a good time to show that filter change, because I can give you all the reasons why you should have an air purifier in your garage. I think showing you is much more effective. So let's take a close look as I change the filter on this air purifier. It's been going for about 3 months, so this is 3 months of use on one filter, and you're going to see real quickly why you want an air purifier in your gym. So this air purifier has two-stage filtration, and on the outside is what they call the pre-filter. And if you look real close, you can see after 3 months at how much just stuff this thing has sucked up over 3 months. Now, if you think that's bad, I want you to look under the pre-filter at the main filter. So we're going to take this off, and you can probably see all of the dust coming off of this thing. But now, if you look at that, I mean, if you just look at how much stuff is in there. And on the inside of the filter is what's called activated carbon. Other filters use charcoal. We'll talk about that in a second. But that's what's going to take all of the odors and all of the VOCs, but not all of the odors and VOCs. Now, this particular filter worked great until I painted my walls with noxious fumes. So if you're looking for a great air filter that's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, these Blue Air units are great. I used to sell air filters as a part of my job in a past life, and these are one of the only ones that never got returned because they actually do a nice job. Now you can see in between here. So if I don't have an air filter in my gym, or you don't have an air filter in your gym, your lungs are filtering all of that. So I've always recommended putting an air filter in my gym, and here's what a new filter looks like. So keep in mind that's 3 months, just 3 months of use. So that's why you want an air filter in your gym, is that dirt. But let me talk about why this one wasn't good enough, why I replaced it, and what I replaced it with, so that if you want to have just that extra level of protection, you've got a couple of options of air filters to put in your gym. So this is the air purifier that I replaced my Blue Air with, and let me show you a couple of reasons why I did that and why I'm happy with this one. First of all, inside the Blue Air, like I said, there's activated carbon. Inside here, there's something called activated charcoal, and activated charcoal does a really good job of filtering out the dangerous stuff out of the air. And the VOCs in particular was what I was worried about, but it takes care of a bunch of other stuff too. And the neat thing about this particular filter is you buy the unit and then you buy the filter that fits inside of it. So inside here, you'll notice this is a much more robust filter than this thing. And inside of here, there's 1.5 pounds of activated charcoal. Now I want one called, I think it's called the overreactor. They make 5 or 6 different types of filters. There's one for pet dander, there's one for all different kinds, one for mold, but this one is their top of the line. Like I said, there's 1.5 pounds of activated charcoal inside this filter. And this particular filter will cycle the air 6 times per hour, which means basically all of the air in the garage gets run through this filter 6 times every hour. It's fairly quiet. There's a bunch of settings you can make it pretty quiet. I leave it on they call it the bubble boy setting.
A bubble boy? Yes, a bubble boy.
Which is just take everything out of the air. Doesn't matter how much power you're using, doesn't matter how loud it is. I barely hear it. But the nice thing is within a couple of days, I was able to come back in my garage and spend time in here with no issues. The smell is gone, the headaches are gone, the noxious fumes are gone. One of the big issues I mentioned before when I sold air purifiers, a lot of them got returned, is because people would bring them home and they would plug them in and they go, I don't feel any different, it doesn't seem any different, why did I spend $100 or $300 or I think this is $400? Why did I spend that money? I don't notice any difference. This is one of the first air filters that I've had. Now on the Blue Air, you can see what it's taking out of the air. With this one, I can actually tell that it's taking this stuff out of the air, especially those VOCs. So especially in a garage gym where, like I said before, you could have things that are stored that are maybe off-gassing fumes. If you've decided to use stall mats, even if you're used to the smell, it doesn't mean that they're not off-gassing anymore. If you painted the walls like I did with the wrong kind of paint, whatever it happens to be. So in the interest of making your garage a better place to be and a safer place to be, after all, we do come in here for our health, we want to make sure that we're making this atmosphere as healthy as possible. And there's a bunch of things that I do. I use a dehumidifier, I use a fan, I use a heater. We're going to talk about some of that stuff in future episodes, but today I wanted to address this because this literally is responsible for me being able to get back into my gym and use it. Now I'm going to put links to the Blue Air, I'm going to put a link to the Mila down below. If this video has helped you and you've decided to buy one, I definitely appreciate it if you use those links. It doesn't cost you anything, it just helps me out as a channel, which is nice, and that way I can do things like buy a new air purifier. But let me know what you guys do. Do you guys have an air purifier that you like? Is there a brand that I'm missing? As always, I like to pin a comment that shows all of the listener or viewer feedback so that if there's more information down the road that people who watch the video down the road can use, that they benefit from it. But that's it for today. That's my 5-Minute Friday. I got it in with 16 seconds left to go. I've been getting a lot of flack for not doing 5-Minute Friday in under 5 minutes. So there you go, 5-Minute Friday in under 5 minutes. And until next Friday, I'm Tim with GymCrafter.